For the month of Ramadan, I just want to say something about Rajab. And Rajab, we know, is the month of the Mi'raj of the Prophet ﷺ, in which the Prophet ﷺ traveled, as it says in the Quran, from Makkah al-Mukarramah to Bayt al-Maqdis, to Masjid al-Aqsa, which we call the Holy Mosque in Jerusalem. Al-Aqsa in Bayt al-Maqdis, also referred to as Al-Quds. And then from there he ascended to the heavens, which is called the Mi'raj. And we call this event collectively the Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. And it occurred in this month of Rajab on the 27th night of Rajab. We are seeing in the news today as well the attacks that are happening in the Holy Land and the blessed land of Palestine, where Al-Aqsa is located. Al-Quds, or Jerusalem, is a holy city within Palestine, and we know what's happening with our hearts wrenching with sadness and sometimes hopelessness, which we should not try to have, about what is happening in Gaza and what is happening in other areas of Palestine, in what they call today the West Bank. And why is this place so important to us? Because it was not only the place where the Prophet ﷺ took a stop or was stationed at during the journey of the Mi'raj, it was also the first Qibla of the Muslims. The first Qibla of the Muslims. Before the Muslims turned and faced towards the Kaaba, they were facing towards Baytul Maqdis in Jerusalem. And when they were facing, and it was in the year 634, by the way, when the Qibla changed to Makkah al-Mukarramah, to the Kaaba Sharif. And it mentions this in the Quran. This event is called the Tahweelul Qibla, the change of the direction of the Qibla. And the Quran says they changed the Qibla where to Tardah, where the Prophet ﷺ desired for the Qibla to change to. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the order that wherever you would like to turn that way, and that is the Qibla, because the Prophet ﷺ had a desire to turn towards the Qibla in Makkah Sharif, the Kaaba, to do the prayers. And the masjid in which that happened, where the Prophet ﷺ turned towards the Kaaba away from Jerusalem, was called, and is today still called, Masjidul Qiblatayn in Medina Munawwara. Many of you have visited that place. You have had the good fortune and the blessing to visit Medina Sharif. You would have visited Masjidul Qiblatayn. It's one of the important ziyarats and places to visit and pray nafal in when you go to Medina Munawwara. That is called Masjidul Qiblatayn. It's a very important masjid in the history of Islam and full of blessings. That's where the Qibla changed. And it happened, and then by morning, all the Muslims were informed that the Prophet ﷺ has turned his direction of prayer towards Makkah. And remember, the Al-Aqsa Masjid in Jerusalem was so important that in the earlier days of Islam, people would discuss and debate which is more important, Makkah Sharif, Masjid al-Haram, or Masjid al-Aqsa. It was actually a discussion amongst Muslims, amongst the Sahaba, which one of those is more important. I think if we have time, I can just read one of those traditions to you, in which Abu Dharr al-Ghifari radiyallahu ta'ala anhu says, we were discussing when we were with the Messenger of Allah, which is better, the mosque of the Messenger of Allah or Baytul Maqdis. Rasulullah said, then answering, one prayer in my mosque is better than 4 prayers offered there. And what a good place of prayer it is. Soon there will come a time when if a man has a piece of land the size of a horse's rope from which he can see Baytul Maqdis, that will be better for him than the whole world. That will be better than him for the whole world. And then we have other narrations about the rewards of praying in Al-Aqsa. And the Prophet ﷺ emphasized for people to go to pray in Masjid al-Aqsa. In fact, when the Fath of Makkah happened, when Makkah was liberated from the hands of the Mushrikeen, and the idols were erased from there and removed, there were some of the Sahaba that made another. They made another, which is in Urdu we call a mannat, another to Allah. And they told the Prophet ﷺ that we will pray 2 rak'ah nafal in Al-Aqsa when the Muslims get there. And the Prophet ﷺ told them, do not make such a difficult nazar to fulfill, and just pray your 2 here. But this is how excited and how much longing they had to visit Al-Aqsa and to pray there. In fact, one of the great Sahaba, Sayyidina Anas bin Malik, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, great companion of the Prophet ﷺ, he was lived till over 100 years old. He served the Prophet ﷺ for the last 10 years of the Prophet ﷺ's life, a great Sahabi. When he used to refer to himself, identify himself or introduce himself about who he was, the thing that he was most proud of was that he was that Sahabi, that companion, and that individual who had prayed in the direction of both Qiblas. That he was the Sahibu Dhu Qiblatain, or did Salah towards both Qiblas. And I'll just end by 2 quick hadith, because we have lots more to say about this, but it's a really long topic. That the Prophet ﷺ said that the reward for praying in Masjid al-Aqsa is 500 times more than that of any other Salah. 500 times. In Masjid al-Nabawi it's 1,000 times, and in Masjid al-Haram in Makkah it's 100,000 times more. That's the blessing of praying in Masjid al-Aqsa. And finally, to say also on this matter, a beautiful tradition of the Prophet ﷺ, and you can see this is written in Al-Aqsa Masjid actually, that if one is not able to pray in Masjid al-Aqsa, if one does not have the means to go there, we know now that it is very difficult. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq to pray in Masjid al-Aqsa once it is liberated and free from the hands of the oppressors. If one does not have the means and cannot make the prayer in Al-Aqsa, then he should send oil to light its lamps. That's the love the Prophet ﷺ had for Al-Aqsa, and the care that we should have for it is that we should send something towards Al-Aqsa. In today's day and age, it might not be oil that you need to send for the lamps, but you can send something for the upkeep of the masjid and for the people that are resident there and the people that are praying there. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our love for the Haram in Makkah, Masjid in Makkah, the Kaaba, Masjid al-Nabawi, the Prophet ﷺ, and for Masjid al-Aqsa and for all its residents. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them freedom. May Allah grant that whole land freedom. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept the shahada of those that on a daily basis are being slaughtered at the hands of the tyrannical Zionists. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ.